Namaste. Much respect. Not a happy message, a powerful message, so bear with me if you can. You can't kill the king without affecting the kingdom, the pride. And so while it's heinous and regrettable and disgusting, and even interesting that our attention is drawn to it, because like, what if Cecil wasn't the most photographed lion? What if he wasn't the most tracked lion? What if he wasn't the most charismatic? What if he had a ugly old gray shaggly mane and scars all over his face? But he's charismatic megafauna, that gets our attention, because we're grown up on that. Giraffes, elephants, lions, tigers, these are things that we understand are beautiful, and why do you need to slaughter them? I never had a lion burger. Nobody's eating lion stew. It's not part of that game. Don't try to play it. It's trophy murder. But I want to use this as a way to elevate and illuminate the conversation as something we can really learn from. Secondary consequences. So many of us isolate our actions. Like this guy's like, well, I paid my $55,000. It was legal. I thought it was legal. And we isolate our actions like he wants to go home and have a fucking lion skin and a head on his wall, a trophy. So Zimbabwe, and because we have a certain responsibility for impoverishing and continuing to sanction that country grossly, and create, the only way that they can make money is to get this tourist trade through accepting pay to slaughter their charismatic megafauna. So they limit it to 600 a year. Well, there's 30,000 of these lions in the wild, so 600 a year, that's 2%. That's not a sustainable rate. But it brings a gross amount, $55,000. We can see both the hubris of earning that much money off of putting cavities in people's mouths. How much are people paying for cavities? Let's be clear, if you can raise enough money to go and slaughter lions on your side. Vacation time. So Zimbabwe takes this money in and they claim it's for conservation, but let's be really super clear. 600 lions a year is not 600 lions a year because people are shooting the lions with manes. The Leos, the alpha males. Now, if you have read any part of the deeper story, Cecil is part of a pride that includes, I think it's above 20 lions. He has Jericho, his beta male. They share 6 lionesses, and amongst them about mid-teens of the cubs. And let's be really clear, we're talking natural order here. We're talking lion world. Don't bring any kind of your anthropomorphism into this. Just understand. As the alpha male, Jericho was recruited as a beta male. Cecil brought him in as like the lieutenant to kind of keep guard, to help him take care of this enormous pride, to make sure the cubs were taken care of, and the lionesses were not raped and marauded off by other random stray males that got kicked out of their pride. This is the way it goes. So they form an allegiance and they work together. Their relationship is supposed to progress over years, where then Cecil becomes old and useless and ethically gets thrown out, whether we like that or not, gets thrown out of the pride, and Jericho takes over, choosing 1 or 2 of the male cubs of the pride to rise up and become his beta males. In the absence of that, and in the lack of that, at this point when Jericho is not ready to become the male, but now has to become the male alpha and protect the 6 other lionesses, he's going to go back and by natural selection, shown time and time again, because this happens in the wild accidentally and on purpose with poaching and hunting, he will go and slaughter all of the male lion cubs that were begat by Cecil. They're a threat to him. He will only relate to the ones that are his males, and he will eventually have to throw 4 or 5 of them out. But essentially, we're going to lose 5 or 6 other lions in this, and this pack now is this pride is completely open to predation. They don't have a second male to step up. None of the cubs are old enough. Jericho is not used to being an alpha. There are 6 females. We're destroying an ecosystem. You can't even take this reply from him that I was using a legal process. You can't understand Zimbabwe's pretense of conservation by limiting it to 600, because we're not. The secondary consequence is it's probably 5 to 10 for every one that we know of. So bring it home. Take your outrage and turn it actually inward and think about it. Can you understand the secondary consequences of your actions? Can you hold yourself accountable? And can we actually finally stand up? And I'm not talking to you about people who actually... You know what? I grew up in Pennsylvania. I live in Texas. Where I grew up in school, the first day of doe and buck season was like a school holiday because nobody came to school. I'll be real with you. People lived off that meat. I understand people who hunt now. There's an enormous difference between hunting for consumption, which if you want to have a conversation about that, take it elsewhere, and hunting to murder for sport. Murdering for sport destroys the ecosystem. Hunting for consumption at least operates off of a premise that they're working to keep a sustainable ecosystem. And then take that outrage and put it into action. Not against something, but for something. How can you understand secondary consequences in your life? Give fucking thanks and praise. It's time to really think.